Sup? No, it's hitchhiking. It's hitchhiking. You can't trust the person driving,
The story takes place
and you can't trust the person that you picking up.
many years ago. I was a young man living out in the Northwest, and in those times, I was spending my summers working odd jobs to help pay for college. I would hitchhike occasionally, and it's not something that I did daily or anything like that, but from time to time, I would use it to get from one city to another. There was one night, though, that made me stop forever. I would say it was probably my 5th time or so hitchhiking. I needed to get to a city about...
I seen somebody. I don't know if I said this recently, but I recently seen somebody on the road. I was driving on the highway. I was trying to get my phone to record it, but it was too quick. It was a white woman. She had like a truck, and she was just on the side of the road. And I seen, oh my God. I said, nope, not today.
30 minutes away and didn't have a car. I couldn't figure out if a bus was going to come through anytime soon, so I decided to stand near the side of the road and wait for a car. Several passed me by, until finally there was a car that I saw slow down and then stop next to me. It was a gray car, and the driver already had all his windows down. He leaned his head over to the side of the passenger's window and said hi to me. He didn't seem too friendly, but he asked me where I was going. I told the man, and then he told me to hop in and motioned to the back seat. Based on the couple of words that we said to each other, the guy didn't seem very nice, but I had to make a split-second decision, and I elected to get inside the car. I got in the back, and immediately noticed that the man had a type of barrier set up between the front and back seats of the car, so that when you were sitting in the back, you really couldn't see anything in the front.
Oh no.
This made me regret my decision, but literally as soon as I was inside...
Okay. So what if you did this? Right? What if, like, because of that situation, he don't know what you're doing. Just in case he locks the doors and put a child lock on there, you hold, like, as soon as you get in, you hold your finger on the lock.
And began driving. I couldn't see him or anything, and now I had just hoped that he wasn't a total creep. His windows were all down in the car, and as we started driving at a decent speed, he rolled them up. When he did, I saw that they were all painted black, so I couldn't see out of them at all.
Painted?
Now I felt like I was in trouble. I tried to roll my window back down, but the button next to my seat didn't do anything. I called out to the man, telling him that I didn't want to ride anymore, but I didn't hear anything from him. I knocked on the barrier, which appeared to be very solid, and asked the man...
No, you got one option. Bust that window open, or unlock the door. Yeet! On me.
He could hear me. I got no response, and the more we drove, the more worried I became. I was basically just sitting there in a box, not being able to see anything. I tried the door as well, but of course it was locked. I didn't know what more I could do other than just sit there and wonder where we were going. He drove for what felt like a really long time. I don't know exactly how long it actually was, but if I had to guess, it was probably about 30 minutes. At last, I felt the car slowing down, and then finally come to a stop. I heard the doors all unlock, and then heard the driver's door open. The man started walking away, and I decided to open up my door and look outside. I slowly opened it up. I saw outside that there was some sort of dirt road, but it appeared to almost be like a driveway of some sort. I looked around. It was very silent, other than the distant sound of crickets in the night. I wondered where I was and where the man had gone. I didn't hear any cars or see any lights to indicate buildings. As I looked outside further, there appeared to be just a woods and a dirt pavement that we were on. I stepped outside the car to see a grass field with a little shed in the distance, but it didn't really seem like anybody would be inside there. Then I suddenly heard footsteps coming from another direction behind the car. I took off and ran into the woods. I didn't stop running and had so much adrenaline that I probably ran for 10 minutes straight in the woods. I was terrified, but after I got too tired to keep running, I slowed down and didn't hear any noises. I had no idea where I was or how to get to safety. I kept on walking through the woods in the same direction, and eventually I made it to a road. This road was paved and not dirt. I figured I could follow it to get to some sort of town, or at least a gas station or something. The road was quiet, and I began walking on it for maybe 10 minutes before hearing a car in the distance. Then I saw the car start to come around the corner. I feared it was the same man and ran back into the woods until I noticed that it was actually a police car. I then ran out of the woods onto the street. The car saw me, and then I saw the flashing lights turn on. I then ran to the officer, who got out of the car and asked me what I was doing. I told him what had happened, and he was able to drive me to a nearby town. I stayed there for the night, and then decided to just wait for a bus and not hitchhike again.
All it takes is for that one time. On me, it takes, at least for me, it just takes that one time. After that, if it's wraps, it's over. Done for.
This story takes place several years ago.
On a blizzard?
I was driving back home one night, and it was really bad weather. It was the winter time, and we were getting a lot of snow. As I was driving along the quieter road in the more rural area, I suddenly saw that there was a man standing on the side of the road up ahead.
Oh, yeah?
He was waving at me,
Yeah.
and I looked around and saw that there wasn't a car near him or anything like that.
That's tough.
I wondered what he was doing there, especially in this terrible weather.
That's not your problem.
He hadn't been there because his car had broken down, because there was no car.
Yeah, yeah.
I slowed down and lowered my window. I asked the man if he was all right. The man walked up to my window and was visibly shivering. He seemed desperate and told me he just needed a ride up to the gas station.
No. You act like just to the gas station. That sentence, just to the gas station. You make it seem like it's right there. So you could have walked that. Watch the gas station be dumb close too. Oh my God. It's just like, what? He good. He's alright. He'll be fine.
He seemed really sad and wasn't wearing a proper coat.
Oh.
I felt bad for him and I told him to hop in.
I didn't.
After the man got inside my car, he shut the door and I began driving. I could feel, though, that the man was staring at me the entire time. And not just looking at me, but really staring at me. I looked over and saw his eyes locked onto mine. It was really creepy and I had to look away. As I drove, he eventually looked away, but I could feel him look back over at me quite a bit. It made me really uncomfortable, and I was hoping that we would find a gas station soon. The roads were getting really bad and slippery, and there were basically no other cars out there. I tried making basic conversation with the man to ease the awkwardness, but he seemed to be focused on something else and never really answered me. Then I got a phone call. I looked at my cell phone and saw it was one of my friends calling me. Normally, I wouldn't answer in this kind of a situation, but the car ride had been so awkward that I decided to take the call. It was my friend Ben, and I don't even really remember why he called me or what he was talking about, but I felt so much better talking to him when the random guy was in my car. About a minute later, the guy in my car said something. I put down the phone and looked at him. The guy seemed disappointed, and he said I could just drop him off right there and pull over.
Oh, I bet. Bet for real. You dead ass. Jake. I don't know why I made that. You better make a man immediately stomp on brakes. You might slide, but get over. That's the second he say you can drop me off. Get over. Don't be like, oh no, maybe the gas station's right along. I don't know if I should drop him off. Drop him off.
I looked at where we were. It was the same quiet road with no businesses nearby, just woods, really.
Okay.
We definitely weren't near a gas station.
Yeah.
It was still snowing badly. I asked the man if he was sure, and he sighed and said yes. I then pulled over, and he got out. I was so relieved to have him out of my car, because he had seriously been giving me the creeps. I was curious where this guy was going, though, and why he wanted me to let him out here, so I watched him. He appeared to walk a little ways up the road, and then look at me. He waved his arms as if he wanted me to drive away, so I did. But as I looked out my back mirror. I noticed two men appeared to come out of the woods and meet the guy. They appeared to get into a car that was parked along the side of the road that I hadn't even noticed. I was driving very slow, and I don't know if they saw me or not after that, but I drove the rest of the way home wondering what exactly happened there.
Hell no. Jesus.
Last year, I took a road trip out west during the summer. As I was on the way back, on the second day of driving, I came to a small city off the main road. I had stopped for gas and was on my way to get back onto the road when I saw a man on the side of the road with his hand out. I was surprised to see this. I didn't even think that people hitchhiked anymore. He was near the stoplight, and as it turned red and I came to a stop, I was only a few feet away from the man. I tried to ignore him by looking around, but then I noticed that he was approaching my driver's window. Then he knocked on it. I rolled it down and was prepared to say no to the man asking for a ride. Sure enough, he did ask me for a ride, but he was a lot nicer than I expected.
I don't care. I do not care. No. It's already bad enough when you slowed down and came to a complete stop. But I don't care who it is. If it's a kid, it could be a setup. If it's a woman, it could be a setup. If it's anybody, I don't care. No, Igga.
He was very friendly and told me he just needed a short ride to a store that was nearby.
No.
I could sort of see it off in the distance. I'm a really nice person.
Wait a minute. If you can sort of see it off in the distance, he can sort of walk. Come on.
I have a hard time saying no to people. So sure enough, I said yes.
Wow.
I know that I cringed as I did, but I just couldn't say no after he was so nice, and it was only a little ways up the road.
Man.
It was decently busy there too, so I didn't think anything bad would happen. Anyways, the man was now in my car, and the light had turned green. I drove the man to the location he asked me to, which only took about 3 or 4 minutes. He was friendly the whole drive, and thankfully, when we got to the location, he left. Nothing strange or weird had happened at all, and I actually felt good about helping the man and drove away. About 3 hours later, I stopped off for gas again. I was in another relatively small town that was just off the main road. After I had fueled up my car, I pulled off onto the road. When I did, I passed a parking lot of some sort of business. I didn't really look at what it was, but anyways, for whatever reason, I glanced over. When I did, I saw a car, and in the driver's seat was the same man that I had given a ride to. I couldn't believe my eyes because I was sure that it was him. He was in the driver's seat staring right at me. This was so crazy to me because he was so far from where I had just given him a ride. I noticed there was another man in the passenger seat staring at me as well, and I had no idea who he was. As I continued with my driving, I just couldn't shake it how weird that was. Several minutes later, as I was driving, I glanced out my passenger's window. I was just casually looking over, but when I did, I noticed something. Near the passenger seat, sticking to the side door, was some sort of weird-looking gray thing, and it blended right in with the door. I wouldn't have noticed it if it wasn't for some small little light that it looked like was on it. It was weird to me, so I ended up actually pulling over my car and unbuckling to grab it. When I did, I saw it look like some sort of small microphone/camera thing. It really creeped me out, and then I saw the tiny light on it. I tossed it out the window because of how creepy it was to me, and then I drove away. Looking back at that, I wish I would have kept it to know exactly what it was, but at the moment, I just wanted it gone.
A tracker?
I think it was some sort of tracking device that the man put in my car, but I guess I'll never know for sure. And why he did it, I have no idea.
He did it to cluck you up. What you talk about? Thank God it's only 3 stories. I gotta take a shit. Hitchhiking. Man, no. I don't know if you all ever hitched. I never hitchhiked. But I just cannot see myself doing that. And on top of that, I don't have nothing to protect myself with. So I would never do that, ever. Ever. But I don't know if you all did that. If you all did that, let me know about your experiences. If you want me to react to what? Let me know what you want me to react to next in the comment section below. Keep it cool, keep it classy, and I love you. Stay happy, my family.